I didn't plan to stay long. It was just a park not far from the city. People walked there all the time. Paths, benches, trees. Nothing unusual. I had been there before. You enter from one side, walk for a while, and leave from another. Simple. That's what I thought. That evening, I entered just before sunset. The light was soft, the air still. There weren't many people. Few in the distance. Walking, sitting, normal. I followed one of the main paths. It curved gently between the trees. The ground was even, the layout familiar. Everything felt easy. I wasn't paying much attention. Just walking. After some time, I decided to leave. Nothing specific. Just that feeling when you know it's time to go. I looked ahead. There was an exit. A metal gate. Exactly like the one I came through. I walked toward it. Not thinking. Just moving. As I got closer, something felt slightly off. Not wrong. Just unclear. The gate looked the same. But I didn't recognize what was beyond it. I slowed down. Looked through. Outside, there was a street, but not the one I remembered. I stopped, turned around. The path behind me looked the same. Trees, benches, curving lines. No difference. I looked back at the gate. Still there. Still. Open. Waiting. I stepped closer. Then stopped again. Something didn't feel right. Not dangerous. Just unfamiliar. Like it wasn't the exit I had used. So I turned around and walked back into the park. I wasn't worried. Not yet. Parks have multiple exits. That made sense. So I kept walking, following another path. After a few minutes, I saw another gate. Same shape. Same size. Same design. I approached it. Looked through. Another street. Different again. I frowned slightly. Turned back. This time, I paid more attention. The paths, the trees, everything looked repeated. Not identical, but arranged in the same way. I chose another direction, walked further. Another gate. Same. Stopped in front of it. Looked carefully. The metal bars. The hinges. The spacing. Exactly the same. I turned around again. Now I noticed something else. The park was quieter. The people I had seen earlier were gone. Not suddenly, just not there anymore. I walked back along the path. Looking. No one. No movement. Just the trees. And the paths. And the gates. I checked my phone. The time had passed normally. Nothing unusual. That helped, but only slightly, because now I understood something simple. It wasn't that I couldn't find the exit. It was that every exit looked like the one I came through. I walked faster. Not running, but more focused. One path, then another. Gate. Turn. Path. Gate. Each one the same. Each one possible, but none of them felt right. After a while, I stopped. Not for long. Just enough to think. And immediately something changed. The space around me tightened. Not physically. But in feeling. The paths seemed closer. The trees slightly nearer. I stepped forward again, and everything returned. Normal. I exhaled slowly. So that was something. Standing still changed. The space. Walking kept it stable. I nodded. Then continued. More carefully. Now. More aware. After some time, I saw another gate. I approached it slowly. Looked through. This time, I recognized something. The street. Familiar. Very close to where I entered. I stepped closer. Almost through. Then stopped. Because something felt wrong again. Not the outside. The gate. I looked at it carefully. And then I noticed it. Small detail. The handle. It was on the opposite side. I froze. Because I remembered when I entered, the handle had been on the other side. I stepped back. Slowly. Because now it was clear. These weren't different exits. They were versions of the same one, and I wasn't finding my way out. I was moving between them. I looked around the park, Again, the paths. The trees, the silence. And for the first time, I said it out loud. They're all the same. The park didn't answer, but the silence felt structured, like everything here was following something. I took a slow breath, then chose a direction, and kept walking. Because now I understood something important. This wasn't about finding the exit, it was about recognizing it. And I hadn't done that yet. I didn't try to leave right away. Not again. Because now I understood something simple. The exits weren't random. They were consistent, too consistent, so instead of rushing, I slowed down, not stopping. Just observing while moving, that mattered. I had already learned that standing still changed things, so I kept walking, steady, balanced, the paths curved the same way. The trees spaced the same way. The benches placed at the same intervals, everything repeated. But not exactly. Just enough to feel familiar, not enough to recognize. I passed another gate. Didn't go to it, just glanced, same design, same structure. I kept walking. After some time, I noticed something new. A sign. Simple, wooden, standing beside the path. I hadn't seen any signs before. I approached it, carefully, the text was small, but clear. I leaned closer, it said, "Don't choose too quickly." I read it twice, then stepped back. That made sense. Before I had just picked exits, without thinking, without checking, nodded slightly, then continued walking, more aware now, watching everything. After a few minutes, I saw another gate. I approached it slowly. Didn't stop. Just slowed down, looked at it while moving. The handle, left side. I kept walking. Another gate. Handle right side. Another. Left. Exhaled. So that was something. Not all the same. Subtle differences. I continued, watching each one. Left. Right. Left. Right. A pattern, but incomplete. I needed more. After some time, I noticed something else. The ground. Near one of the gates. There was a small mark, almost unnoticeable. A scratch in the path. I stepped closer, looked down. It wasn't random. It looked placed, like someone had marked it. I looked at the gate above it. Handle left. I nodded. Then moved on. After a few minutes, I saw it again. The same mark. Same position. Under another gate. Handle left. I stopped, just for a second. Then stepped forward again, because now I understood something more. The park repeated, but certain things stayed aligned. I walked faster. Not rushing, but focused. Looking for patterns. Mark. Gate. Handle. Mark. Gate. Handle. Left. Left. I exhaled slowly, then said quietly, "Not all of them." That felt right. Not every gate mattered. Only some. I kept walking, ignoring the others now. The ones without marks. They didn't feel important. After some time, I found another marked gate. Handle left. I stopped, looked through it. The street outside looked familiar, more than before. Not exact, but close. I stepped closer. Paused. Then looked down again. The mark was slightly different, not just a scratch. 2 lines this time. Parallel. I frowned slightly. Then looked at the gate again. Same handle. Same structure. But now there was more information. I stepped back, then forward again, carefully, testing something. When I moved, everything stayed stable. The gate didn't shift. The space didn't distort. That mattered. I reached out, touched the gate. It felt real. Solid. Unchanging. I didn't open it. Not yet. Instead, I stepped back. Because now I understood something important. The park wasn't trying to trap me. It was guiding, through repetition, through patterns. Through small differences. I looked around again. The paths, the trees. The silence. All the same. But now Not meaningless. Structured. I walked away from the gate. Continuing. Because I needed more. More marks. More confirmation. More understanding. After some time, I found another one. A gate. Marked. 3 lines. This time. Handle. Left. I nodded. The pattern was growing. 1 line. 2 lines. 3 lines. Not random. Progression. I stepped closer to the gate. Looked through. The street outside felt almost correct. Not exact. But closer than before. I stood there. Not moving. Just for a moment. Then quickly stepped forward again, keeping the space stable. And quietly said, I need to follow this. The park didn't answer, but the silence felt aligned again, like I was finally moving with it. I stepped back. Turned. And continued walking. Because now I understood something clearly. There wasn't just one exit. There was a sequence, and I had just started to see it. I didn't rush anymore. Not after that. Because now I understood something clearly. The park wasn't random. It was organized. Carefully. Every path, every gate, every detail, part of the same structure. I was starting to see it. I walked forward. Steady. Not stopping for too long. Watching the ground. Looking for marks. The first one line, then 2, then 3. Each time. Gate. Each time handle on the left. That mattered. I passed other gates. Ignored them. No marks. They didn't feel important anymore. Just repetitions. I continued. Looking. Waiting. And then I saw the next one. 4 lines. Same position. Same pattern. I stepped closer. Looked at the gate. Handle. Left. I nodded slowly. The pattern held. I looked through. The street beyond felt even closer to something real. Not fully familiar, but almost like something I had seen before but couldn't place. I stepped back, then forward again. Carefully. The space didn't shift. Stayed stable. That was important. I moved on, because I needed to see where it led. After some time, I noticed something new. The park felt quieter. Not just empty. Simplified. Fewer paths branching off. Fewer distractions. More direct. I kept walking. And then other mark. 5 lines. Same place. Same structure. I stepped closer. Looked at the gate. Handle. Left. I exhaled. Still consistent. I looked through. This time. I recognized it. The street. Clearly. Exactly. A place where I had entered. I froze. Because now it was different. Not almost. Not close. Exact. I stepped closer. Slowly. Carefully. Then stopped. Because something didn't feel right. Not the street. Not the gate. The moment. I looked down. The mark. 5 lines. I stared at it. Then said quietly, This isn't the last. The silence didn't change, but I knew. The sequence wasn't finished. I stepped back, turned away from the gate, and kept walking, because now I trusted the pattern more than the image. After a while, I found it. 6 lines. Same place. Same design. I stepped closer, looked at the gate. Handle. Left. Still correct. I looked through. The street beyond looked even clearer. Not just familiar, aligned. Like it matched not only the place, but the direction. I took a slow breath, then stepped closer. Paused. And for the first time, I noticed something else. The space around the gate was stable. Not shifting. Not tightening. Not distorting. Completely still. That hadn't happened before. I reached out, touched the gate. It didn't change. Didn't react. I pushed it slightly. It moved. Easily. I stopped, not stepping through yet. Because now I understood something important. This wasn't just about finding the right exit. It was about reaching the right moment. The right alignment. I looked down again. 6 lines. Then back at the gate. Handle left. Everything matched. I exhaled slowly, then quietly said, This is it. The park didn't respond, but it didn't need to. Because for the first time, nothing felt uncertain. I stepped forward, one step closer to the gate. And this time, I didn't stop. I stepped through not quickly, not hesitating just forward. The moment I crossed the gate, everything changed. Not dramatically but clearly. The air shifted. The silence broke. Sound returned. Distant traffic. A faint breeze. Normal. I turned around. The gate was behind me. Exactly where it should be. Open. Unremarkable. Just a park exit. I looked back inside. The paths. The trees. Everything looked normal. Nothing repeated. Nothing strange. Just a park. I stepped away from the gate, onto the sidewalk. The ground felt different. More solid. More familiar. I took a breath, then another. Everything felt real. A line. I checked my phone. Time had passed. Nothing unusual. No gaps. That mattered. I started walking. Away from the park. The street looked exactly as I remembered. Cars. Buildings. Lights beginning to turn on. Normal. I didn't rush. Didn't look back immediately. Just walked. Step by step, letting everything settle. After a while, I stopped, turned around. The park entrance was still there. Behind me. Unchanged. People were walking in and out. Just like before. No hesitation. No confusion. I watched for a moment. No one stopped. No one looked around. They entered and exited normally. I nodded slowly. So it wasn't the park. It was something else. I turned away again and kept walking. But after a few steps, something felt off. Very slight, almost unnoticeable. I stopped, looked down. The ground. Nothing strange. Then I looked ahead. The street stretched forward. Normal. But something about the distance felt too even. I frowned slightly, then turned back again. Looked at the park. Still normal. Still quiet. People moving naturally. Nothing repeating. Nothing wrong. And yet I couldn't ignore it. That feeling. Subtle. Familiar. I took a step. Then another. Listening. The sound of my footsteps was slightly delayed. Barely. But enough. I stopped immediately. The silence returned. Clean. Precise. I exhaled slowly. Then said quietly, not fully. Because now I understood something. I had left the park, but I hadn't left the pattern. Not completely. I turned again, looked at the entrance. For a moment, I thought I saw it. A small detailed dot near the gate. A faint mark. On the ground. I narrowed my eyes, took a step closer. But from this distance, it looked like nothing. Just part of the pavement. I stood there. Not moving. Then stepped back, because I understood something else. This wasn't about going back. The path had already continued. Through me. I looked forward again. The street stretched normally. People passing. Cars moving. Everything aligned. But now I noticed it. Patterns. Subtle. Spacing. Repetition. Not as obvious. But still there. I took a slow breath, then started walking again. This time more aware. More precise. And as I moved, everything felt stable. No distortion. No delay. Just alignment. I nodded slightly, because now I understood the final part. The park wasn't a place. It was a system, and I had learned it. But learning it meant I carried it. Not trapped. Not lost. Just aware. I walked down the street, blending into everything around. And the normal. And yet not the same as before. Because now I knew. Every exit might look the same. But not everyone leads out. I didn't go back. Not after that. There was no reason to. I had already stepped through. And whatever the park was, it let me leave. At least. PHYSICALL. Why I kept walking. The street stretched ahead. Normal. People passing. Cars moving. Lights. Changing. Everything exactly as it should be. And yet, I noticed it. Not immediately. Not clearly. Just small things. Spacing. Distance. Repetition. Subtle. But familiar. I walked past a row of streetlights. Each one evenly spaced. Perfectly aligned. Too perfectly. I slowed down. Not stopping. Just observing. The pattern. Held. Consistent. Predictable. I nodded slightly. Then continued. Because now I understood something. The park didn't create the pattern. It revealed it. I crossed the street. The timing of the lights felt exact. Not random. Measured. I stepped onto the sidewalk. The ground felt stable. No shift. No delay. Just consistent. I stopped. Just for a second. And nothing changed. That mattered. Because before stopping altered everything. Now, it didn't. I exhaled slowly, then said quietly, "It's stable." The words didn't echo, didn't shift the space. They just stayed. I kept walking, and after a while, I reached something familiar. My street. The place where I had started. Everything looked right. The buildings, the layout. No repetition. No distortion. Just normal space. I walked to the entrance. Paused. Then stepped inside. The hallway was quiet. Lights steady. No flicker. No delay. I walked to my door. Unlocked it. Entered. Everything inside. Unchanged. Exactly as I had left it. I stood there for a moment. Listening. Nothing unusual. Just silence. Calm. I set my phone down. Looked around. Then sat. Not waiting. Not expecting anything. Just present. And for a while nothing happened, which felt right. Because now I wasn't looking for an exit. I had already found it. Time passed. Normally. No gaps. No shifts. Just steady movement. I stood up, walked across the room. Each step felt clear. Balanced. Aligned. I stopped, and nothing changed. I nodded slowly. Because now I understood the final part. The park wasn't something you escaped. It was something you learned. And once you did, you didn't see exits the same way again. I walked to the window. Looked outside. The street below. People moving. Everything normal. And yet, I could still see it. The structure. The spacing. The quiet order. Behind everything. Not obvious. But present. I stepped back. Turned away. Because I didn't need to focus on it anymore. It was already there. I sat down again. Resting. Still. And for the first time stillness didn't change anything. It just existed. I closed my eyes for a moment, then opened them again. The room remained the same. Stable. Complete. And I understood. There was never a single exit. Only the right one. And it wasn't about finding it. It was about recognizing it. I looked around one last time. Then quietly said, "I know now." The silence didn't respond, but it didn't need to, because everything was already in place.